From the future of Sora AI and GPT to the reality that OpenAI might become the one in power of the first AGI. The latest interview with Sam Altman had some huge moments that you must know about. Let's talk about it.
Our mutual friend Elon sued OpenAI. What to use the essence of what he's criticizing? To what degree does he have a point? To what degree is he wrong?
Remember Elon Musk suing OpenAI recently? Interestingly, that is one of the first major points that were talked about in this interview. The question here was about how Sam Altman believes Elon was right or wrong about suing OpenAI. He doesn't specify an answer to that, but did respond about OpenAI's response with this.
Can you summarize it?
Oh, we just said Elon said this set of things. Here's our characterization, or here's the sort of not our characterization. Here's the characterization of how this went down. We tried to not make it emotional and just sort of say here's the history.
Interesting to see how they might have struggled with giving a good public response to it, as he stated that they wanted to not get emotional about it. Then he got into how he believed that Elon would be more empathetic with them, as they share similar interests, which followed with a statement about how it was Elon who wanted to part ways with OpenAI, contrary to what many believe.
Can you describe that exactly? The choosing to part ways?
He thought OpenAI was going to fail. He wanted total control to sort of turn it around. We wanted to keep going in the direction that now has become OpenAI. He also wanted Tesla to be able to build an AGI effort. At various times, he wanted to make OpenAI into a for-profit company that he could have control of or have it merge with Tesla. We didn't want to do that, and he decided to leave, which that's fine.
Pretty strong words here, putting Elon into a pretty bad spotlight. Later in the interview, the question about Sora AI comes up. As we all wait for it to release, we would love to hear more about this. Clearly, a lot is being talked about how much it developed from older models, but when talking about copyright, that's what Altman had to say about it.
Do you think training AI should be or is fair use under copyright law?
I think the question behind that question is, do people who create valuable data deserve to have some way that they get compensated for use of it? And that, I think the answer is yes. I don't know yet what the answer is. People have proposed a lot of different things. We've tried some different models. But, if I'm an artist, for example, A, I would like to be able to opt out of people generating art in my style. And B, if they do generate art in my style, I'd like to have some economic model associated with that.
Let's see how these new models turn out then. Times are changing fast and we need to stay at the edge here. Sadly though, no data about release dates this time. Let's hope we can get some insights sooner rather than later. We recently started hearing about ChatGPT getting memory of previous conversations. Although there is still no news about the releases, some interesting things are mentioned during the interview about this topic.
We're very early in our explorations here, but I think what people want, or at least what I want for myself, is a model that gets to know me and gets more useful to me over time. This is an early exploration. I think there's a lot of other things to do, but that's where we'd like to head. You'd like to use a model, and over the course of your life, or use a system, there'll be many models, and over the course of your life, it gets better and better.
So it seems like the intention of this memory is not to keep a detailed character sheet about you, but more with the goal to learn about you and your personal preferences, hopefully giving you better and more customized answers this way. Now we get into the big questions. QStar, OpenAI's possible solution for AGI. When a direct question was made about it, if there is anything to talk about QStar, this is the response we've gotten.
Can you speak to what QStar is?
We are not ready to talk about that.
Quite suspicious. A little bit too direct for there to be nothing to talk about. Supposedly, there is just nothing to talk about since no real breakthrough has been achieved.
We have said for a while that we think better reasoning in these systems is an important direction that we'd like to pursue. We haven't cracked the code yet.
Something interesting is the mention that we might get some iterative updates in the future, meaning that instead of getting a big breakthrough update every year or so, we might get updates every few months or even less.
our goal is not to have shock updates to the world. The opposite.
Yeah, for sure. More iterative would be amazing. I think that's just beautiful for everybody.
But that's what we're trying to do. That's like our stated strategy. And I think we're somehow missing the mark. So maybe we should think about, releasing GPT-5 in a different way or something like that.
However, as we all wait for the big release of GPT-5, we sadly only get a I don't know.
So when is GPT-5 coming out again?
I don't know. That's an honest answer.
But hey, if this new iterative approach is true, we might get something soon. GPT 4.5 maybe? We'll be here to check it out for sure, as soon as it does come out. So make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Before we get to the big question at the end about the future of AGI, they do talk about if there will be any big competition from OpenAI against Google. Now that Google Gemini is coming out. Many have been talking about how ChatGPT and similar OpenAI systems will replace Google search functionality. However, it seems like directly competing against Google search is not part of what OpenAI has planned for their future.
So is OpenAI going to really take on this thing that Google started 20 years ago, which is how do we get...
I find that boring. I mean, if the...
Well, I find that boring are quite the words to say about this topic, huh? Although I do get the reasoning here. As talked about in the interview, ChatGPT and AI for all that matters is not trying to be a search engine, but it's trying to be some sort of a next step, a new way to get information. Let's see what he really has to say about that.
If the question is if we can build a better search engine than Google or whatever, then sure, we should go, people should use a better product. But I think that would so understate what this can be. Google shows you 10 blue links, 13 ads and then 10 blue links. And that's one way to find information. But the thing that's exciting to me is not that we can go build a better copy of Google search, but that maybe there's just some much better way to help people find and act and synthesize information.
We need to see what this next step will really look like in the coming years. It will be interesting for sure. Now we get to the big question. When do we get AGI? Sam Altman with the latest news about QStar is surely the best person to ask this question right now. So what is it that he has to say about that? When are we going to get AGI?
But what I would say, in the interest of not trying to dodge a question, is I expect that by the end of this decade, and possibly somewhat sooner than that, we will have quite capable systems that we look at and say, wow, that's really remarkable. If we could look at it now, maybe we've adjusted by the time we get there.
Honestly, this answer is more precise than expected. Will it be OpenAI that develops the first AGI though? That we don't know. Not even Altman himself can predict that. What he can say though is an interesting answer to a really good question from Lex Friedman.
Whoever builds AGI first gets a lot of power. Do you trust yourself with that much power?
Look, I'll just be very honest with this answer. I was gonna say, and I still believe this, that it is important that I nor any other one person have total control over OpenAI or over AGI. And I think you want a robust governance system.
That feels scary. Seems like we are going to get good control over who owns AGI. But at the same time, as he himself mentioned,
although the board had the legal ability to fire me, in practice, it didn't quite work.
That's quite the scene on how control is going to be given over the future of AI. However, as we probably remember, most of what made that decision of power happen was the voices of the masses, our voices. Many people wanted to keep Sam Altman as the CEO, so the board lost their power to fire him from the company. This, now contrary to the statement before, sets quite a positive image of power over the future of AI, as we, as the users, still have the power to move the direction towards what we imagine to be correct.
But I think there's also a much more positive version of that where the people still have power. So the board can't be too powerful either. There's a balance of power in all of this.
Balance of power is a good thing for sure.
All in all, an incredibly interesting interview for sure. Thanks to Lex Friedman for making this interview happen, and we do hope to see more really soon. So yeah, in conclusion, sadly, no new release dates yet, but this has solidified my understanding on what to expect from the future quite a bit. Seeing how fast things have evolved, just taking into account the last 5 years, if we can keep up the pace, some eventful times await us in the next few years for sure. I must say, seeing how much AI has impacted my life and how AI is already changing the entire shape of our society, it is truly a great time to be alive. And with that, let us know if we missed something important. Did we cover everything? What was your opinion on this interview? Did you hope for more? Let us know in the comments below. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done already and want to see more content like this. And don't forget to hit the like button. This has been Dennis Panuta and I'll see you in the next video.